dev videos with the crappy desktop mic. Anyways, today we're going to work on more missile stuff, even though I've got other things I should be doing, but my internet got knocked out, so we're just going to record a couple videos here until it comes back online. Anyways, in order to get the medium missile implemented properly, I actually have to do away with this enum system that we built in. Originally, when I first designed the new version of ICBM, it was theorized that we would only have 5 missile types altogether. This doesn't even include skins or anything else, just 5 missile types. Now we are going to end up with 6 different chassis sizes by the time we are done, which means we can still use this enum, but we can't use a lot of the stuff attached to it. Like, for example, I can't rely on the metadata, which is what we have right here. So we can't use metadata anymore to determine what our missiles are. Now, of course, we're going to leave metadata in here as legacy support. So what we'll do is we'll just say, okay, metadata is now your chassis size. So if you're a micro missile, you are now metadata 0. If you are a small missile, you are metadata 1. That way you can quick check real quick on what type of missiles you're running through inventory sorting systems or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The plan is that I need to migrate this away from this, and we need to go to something similar to what we already have right here, which is a class-based object that defines it, except this is going to be JSON-driven data with potentially a logic driver in it. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do the logic at the moment, because not a single missile actually needs any more logic than the default. So what we're going to do for now is we're going to do away with almost all of this stuff and switch it to the JSON system. This is going to take a few tries because, well, zero planning was made for this video. Right now I'm just kind of winging it, and I haven't had coffee this morning, so we're kind of just doubling up the amount of fail that's about to happen. Anyways, so this needs to be a JSON gen object in order to do the JSON system, which means we're going to have to get a whole bunch of data thrown into here. Since we're already extending the abstract modular, we're going to have to create a lot of the JSON stuff ourselves. Normally I have prefabs for all this. So content ID, by the way, is going to end up having to be set up. This one's just pretty much going to be missile dot plus the name. I think name's already in here. Okay, there's already a name system for the modular. We're going to change that, I think. Let me see where name's used at before we do anything. It looks like it's only an unlocalized thing. And we already override it anyway, so it's not like we use it. So here's our missile object, and yeah, so we get a localization for it. Content ID, so that means we actually need to be setting these up to have their own names now. This means the name is going to have to be... Yeah, this is going to be complicated. The reason I say this is going to be complicated is because of how the modular system works. The modular system assumes you're going to have an item stack. Now this means that we need to have a stack in order to initialize this properly. Because you can't apparently set any of this stuff to null right now. And there's a reason you can't do that, is because it does depend on the item existing in order for a lot of the sub-functions to operate. But I think we may end up changing this. Let me go ahead and... Yeah, because the thing is, the actual modular system doesn't actually care. So what we may do is we may just stop using abstract modular, because abstract modular doesn't give you a lot of prefabs. Or we may just make item optional. This is where the confusing part actually gets in, that I'm going to have to sit here and work on stuff, because the modular system was kind of half-assed when I made it. It was just really quickly thrown together so I could get parts to put into the missiles. And then I decided, why not just make the missile modular too, even though we actually legitimately just don't use it as a modular, even though it can actually be used as one, and that may be the problem. Let's see where this object is used at. That's the reason we're using it, is because it's used by the missile modular builder to build missiles, which the modular building system needs things to be modular in order for it to work properly. Everything else that uses it is just using it by reference. Like here, this one makes a new missile object, so yeah, we'll just go ahead and recode this from scratch. It won't kill us. Let's take a look at this really quickly. So we'll still need the save by item stack system. And we'll need a little bit of everything else. Actually, you know what we need to do? This just needs to be done real quick. I just need to get rid of the requirement for the item. This does mean that a lot of the functionality will not work properly, and that's okay. Because what we're doing is we're going to initialize the item. We're just going to initialize it late. So we're going to go ahead and I want to make this public, but at the same time I don't. Okay, we need a getter and setter for that. So let's go ahead and hit refractor, encapsulate fields, leave it as is, access reveal build public, Java docs as is, and we'll do that for both. The only difference is I'm not going to allow names to be changed via a method, but I'll make an accessor for it. We'll go ahead and make a getter and setter for this, so set item, get item, that way we can modify it late into the runtime. And this is just going to be this .name. I don't know why. Well, yeah, it's told to automatically do that. This needs to be final, actually. Then we're going to hit build and rebuild project, because I think that just changed a whole bunch of stuff I didn't want it to, and we're going to have to sit there and fix it for a couple seconds. And something just bit my leg. Ah. Well, the downsides of it being summertime is occasionally you'll get things like mosquitoes and stuff that will get in your house, and yeah. Alright, so we need to get rid of the class structure here. We're gonna leave the warheads on this. Sorta. Actually, what are the warheads even used for? I know it makes sense to have them here, but that's not what I wanted actually. I want to know what you're used for. Missile casing. Okay. Missile modular builder. Ah, so you just initialize stuff really quickly. Yeah, I can leave that there. That works. And then we want to do the max flight ticks. I don't care what somebody has missile-wise. The max flight ticks are way beyond what these missiles can actually fly-wise. HP will remove, mass will remove, and we'll remove the enable status. So this will just turn into just a casing page thing. So just turn into like a size system. And if we actually remove a lot of this, I can go ahead and throw this out into the API, which is where it really needs to be. That way it's real easy to reference our enums for size. And there actually needs to be a new size down here, which is extra large. Extra large is going to be the actual ICBM one now. And so how it's going to go is, this is going to be our 1 meter and below, 3 meters and below. I think this one was going to be like 7 meter and below, because right now it's like a 5 meter missile is what the standard is. This is 16 meters. This is going to be our 32 meter, and then our extra large is going to be the 64. Probably need a better name for this scale here. Probably going to just start calling them tiering. Values tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it'll be a tier 6. That's just weird. Not that saying the word standard is weird either. Though I do want to note that the micro is not actually meant to be, it's not even meant to be a tier whatsoever. It's actually just a flat out different piece of content. So technically small would be your tier 1 missiles. So let's see. Yeah, it works. Anyways, we didn't have any errors pop up, so we're good there. Now let's close a couple of these other pages here. Yeah, we were working yesterday with just getting the casing of rendering game, which we did. And I did a follow-up video noting that Alex fixed his model, which was not too long of a fix. He just had to get the normals to show up so he could see and make sure they were working. And he sat and recalculated them all. I got the updated model files. Today we'll probably, if we get through getting the modular JSON system put up, we'll get the rest of the missile parts into the game, and we'll be able to view them. Just gotta think of like how the best way to handle a lot of this. You know what the problem is? I think I'm looking at this the wrong way. I believe we recreate a missile instance per object. So what we actually need is missile data. So we're going to need a brand new object for this. And what it will do is it will replace casing here. And you'll just pass in missile data. That's going to be complicated. Yeah, that's going to be really complicated. We'll also need to get a skin value in here too. That one's also going to be complicated. Luckily the skins, I'm probably just going to use string values for them. Just be like, okay, here's your name of your skin, and you use it that way. Yeah, we'll do it that way. So it'd be public string texture skin ID. And this will just be like ICBM dot default. That way we can reference a skin. And what we'll do is we'll just make a registry with all the skins in it, and it'll be okay, give me your skin ID, and it'll always be a mod prefix. And this won't just be mod, this will be like your package name or your resource pack, or flat out just your author name. It doesn't really matter, as long as it gets registered properly so the game can use it. Let's see, yeah, we gotta work his stuff. We don't mess with this stuff. This stuff needs to be left alone. And then, we're going to need missile data. And the missile data is going to replace all of these guys. And we need to make a new package for this. Because the thing is, I've been shoving all of this down here into the crafting package, and this is not where it should be. Because it's a little confusing. Because even though these are for crafting parts, they actually are legitimate data sources. We could just rename this package. We got some parts down here too. Missile crafting parts. Let's toss this down here. Tractor. Yeah, let's just sit here really quickly and just move stuff around. Hopefully nobody's got add-ons for ICBM, or they're going to break after this patch. I'll up the version number just to make sure people can tell the difference. So this is going to be... Yeah, I do still need to make sure I have a crafting package, because there are actually some crafting things that go on here, but the rest of this stuff needs to not be. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of this stuff down to the missile package. So what we're going to do is make a new package called parts, and then we'll remove all of this stuff down into parts. There we go. That way it's easier to find. So when you're looking through, you go content, missile, and then parts. Not crafting and then missile. Then because it's always been even confusing for myself. I've been having trouble finding where the stuff is. This is going to break some compatibility if anybody has add-ons, and I don't even know if it's going to break anything else. I haven't even thought about it. I guess while I'm toying around in here, probably want to go ahead and do some other things. So we got parts here. This is where we're actually going to list physical parts. But then we're going to want to have another package. Well, we already have data here. Make a new package in here called ammo. So I can get this stuff thrown up in there. Yeah, the flight data is not even implemented yet. It's something that's going to be implemented here in the future. What this will do is this will tell the missile how it's supposed to fly. Actually, I think flight data may be used. No, it's not used. But this will be what will actually allow the arc path to work properly. So you know how people have been complaining, it's like, hey, you can't do an arc with a missile, you can't do any complicated flight path. This is the reason why the flight data is not implemented. And I don't know when it's going to be implemented, so don't ask. Yeah, let's clean this package up a little bit more. So entity. So we're going to go throw entity up in here. Trigger cause missile destroy is a data object, so toss it up there. We got an item, which we'll just leave in the default package, and we got an inventory filter missile. Used to inventory filter, this is just like a helper class. And then we got render. Now the render, I believe, does both the missile and the item. Yeah, it does. So we're going to leave it in the base package. Let's make one called item real quick. What I probably need to go ahead and do is separate out the render code here. Or we'll make something just called, make another package, client. Yeah, you can see how complicated ICBM actually is when you start looking at the package structure and you start seeing a ton of this stuff. Speaking of which, are you even used? What are you? Hi, we found a dead object. We're going to delete that after I'm done synchronizing things. First step we want to do is go ahead and synchronize this stuff and go small API change and reorganization of packages related to missile and missile parts. Always good idea to leave extra tips down in the comments. What? Ah, yeah, this makes sense. I don't have internet. I can't push anything. This is going to be dumb for the next few minutes. Most likely, I just need to flat out reboot my router because we have had a lot of lightning and it probably just knocked the connection out. I need to synchronize voltage in real quick too. At least anything I could just make commit messages while I'm offline. And let me go ahead and just unplug my router while we're waiting too. Oh, you know what? Reaching over, it's already unplugged. That could explain a lot of things. Probably got jolted here at some point. Or somebody unplugged it. I don't really care. But let's see, so I need the prefabs, because I think it's where the modular class we just edited stored. Yeah, there it is. Power node got edited. Oh. Fixed internal connection for power node. Actually, you know what, let's synchronize just that by itself. That probably should have been synchronized days ago. Removed. Yeah, we'll do that. So we removed item requirement on modulars. Encapsulated. Ah, another bug just bit my arm. Yeah, I need to get some bug spray. There we go. Commit that. And I can't push anything until my internet comes back online, which probably won't come back right away. Oh well. Anyways, we moved all that, so let's go ahead and clean out these dead objects real quick. These are more than likely down in the launchers. Where are these classes actually? Storage small. Okay. Oh, that's right, because the this was still using the item block, and I just moved it down here last time we were working on it. So I get rid of that guy. Then let's go find where the other one is. Silo controller. Why is the silo controller using it? Because the silo controller for some reason is using item block ICBM. Why? Yeah, there's no real reason for it to be using a larger height at all for this, so there's no reason for it to use that code. So let's go ahead and go over here and do item base is what I think it is. Oh, that's an item. Okay, item block base. Item block abstract, but I don't think we can actually utilize this. Oh, you can. Okay. Generic prefab to be used in all items providing common implementation. This is what we want anyways, is this add information system. Although I think I got a toy with it. But that means we can get rid of this guy. Get rid of that. And then hit build project real quick to make sure there's no errors before I go ahead and I commit the changes. So we go over here, ICBM, stage all, removed extra item block classes. Always a good idea to go once in a while through your project and just clean out things. Hey, I got internet again. That makes me happy. Doesn't mean I need to boot up my a couple of my servers. I took a lot of my servers offline thinking the internet was going to be the least of my problems. Because after all, a lot of rain, thunder, lightning, you know, the normal stuff. Best to not have stuff online while that happens. Anyways, go ahead and push these up so they get put on the remote server. And then flip back to ICBM and then toss this on your screen. Okay. And we went ahead and we moved everything here. So our package structure is a little bit better cleaned up. You know, one thing before I forget to do it, this thing needs to have a new tooltip added to it, although I need to just recode this whole item. But so this needs to be noted. Works with assembly line rails only. A lot of people are like, hey, I can't get these to put on rails. Well, it's because they're meant for the assembly line mod. So I actually do the assembly line mod rails only. And then another thing I need to do is if loader is mod loaded, we'll go get the assembly line ID real quick. So I don't want to delete the rail carts if you remove the mod, although it kind of... Actually, you know what? Let's just not register the content if it's not loaded. Where are you registered, actually? That'd be right there. So we do this real quick, because this would be better. This actually means I need a proxy for this, but it's not dependent on actually assembly line, so we can do it down here. It's not the most ideal way to handle this, but it does actually work. And then I need the domain name. Right there. And there you go. So this content will only load if assembly line's loaded up, and that will save me from getting bug reports like, hey, I can't use the carts. Well, that's because the carts don't actually work with normal vanilla carts. Vanilla style carts are coming later. They haven't been implemented yet, but they are coming pretty soon here. Eventually. I don't have an ETA, so don't ask. We got that set up though. Got missile done. I need to recode the rocket launcher here eventually, so it'll fire the ICBM Classic and the ICBM and modded other mods of rockets. But we need to get back to working on the missile because that's the plan for today. So we just moved everything to parts here, And we're going to set up some data here. So we're going to need a new data object. So we're going to make one called missile. Or actually, you know what? Let me refactor that and change that. It's going to be casing. And we'll make a new object called missile casing data. And then this will be our actual JSON gen object. Actually, I think I can extend something here. Extends JSON gen data. There we go. I still have to implement things though, so I can't get away from that, but you can get some of the stuff implemented ahead of time. So we're going to need a content ID. Our content ID is going to be by default like missile dot, and then it'll be, yeah, that sounds about right, I think. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the Armory mod. The Armory mod does the same exact thing. And this is where I always say I need to write notes down because I've done this before, but can't precisely remember what I'm doing. So go data here, and let's just flap the sentry right real quick and see what it's doing. All this data. I still need to finish up the JSON override system too, because I'm pretty sure my client wants to go through and rebalance all of his stuff. There's a toString down here. Yeah, we're definitely going to want one of those. We're going to want a registry of casing data too. Apologies for the cough as well. This is going to be missile casing data. And then we'll put some information in here later. Yeah, I probably have to go all the way down the base object, which doesn't make sense. Because I should have found it by now. Hold on. Go back in here again because I think I missed something in Armory entry. Yeah, there's a name object. Okay, get unique ID, which is just flat out ID. ID is constructed from, yeah, flat out ID. So ID usually is just the mod and colon and then your thing there. So we're just using ID here. So that's not bad. I believe there's another thing I have, like what, my mod object. Implement methods. Get unique ID, get content type, get mod ID. Okay, yeah, we need that kind of stuff. So our mod ID on this is going to be ICBM. So this will be ICBM.domain. Our content type is missile. And then we'll get our unique ID here. So what we want to do is go ahead and do it this way. Do that. Then we're going to want an ID in here. So public final string ID. And then we're going to have an ID here. So string. Then you just put the ID back here. And you're good. So that'll work. So that gets us all of our base stuff. Now what things we need to put in here is like getting our size of our missile, getting the weight of the missile. There's quite a few things that have to be implemented here. The good news is we can load a lot of this with JSON-driven information. So if you saw with I open up the sentry here, we have a lot of this stuff down here. This is JSON loading content. Very useful information. It loads all of this up here, which is used by the sentry gun to operate. And this is about half as much as what the sentry gun actually needs data-wise. And I have to actually finish it up here eventually. There's a lot of like little fine-tuning controls and stuff still need to be implemented. That reminds me, I got a monster next to my desk and I'm sitting here drinking water. Oh well. But let's go ahead and we want to look at what we got for our casing data currently, and we want to then take a look at what we need to go ahead and implement. So if we open up our casings here, we are going to need to implement a render system. This is probably what we should migrate to first before we finish up the casing data. But let's go ahead and get the data loaded into the missile object, which, by the way, the missile object needs to be moved somewhere else. Let's toss the missile out here. And then we want to do away with... Actually, we want to do this real quick. So we're going to rename this to missile size. Yeah, you can tell how old this is. I started updating this 2014 at the end of the year. So that means literally the rewrite is barely older than 2 years. And I didn't even finish the update until I think about 2016-ish. Alright, so a lot of stuff needs to be gotten rid of here. So get rid of max hit points here. Get rid of the registry system. We still need this though, so this is actually, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And we're going to pop this over to wherever our missile casing data is. This is where things get a little dumb. Because once you start removing certain things, it gets a little less requirement-wise. I need to put a thing down here. To do implement. I actually need to do that several spots. I need to get rid of the iJSON object off this. Get rid of you guys off the bottom there. Okay, so this literally is just an object used to describe what the missile is, so that way you're not re-referencing the item stack every single time you want some data. It actually does act as the physical missile most of the time, but I don't think I actually need this to be a modular to function. So I actually still may go ahead and remove the modular off this, because we're not really using anything from it. We're only really using the save and load command. And like, if you see with the load, we're not even using the super part of it. So I may just go ahead and, yeah, let's just do this and we'll see what damage we cause. Get rid of you. Get rid of this crap. So we don't need an item anymore, because a lot of the stuff doesn't even function properly. So we just need to go ahead and do missile casing data here, data. Same up here. Okay, so this is where we start need to do stuff. So this will be data.getMass. The mass thing, by the way, will come into play here later. Get rid of this here. Just put it right there. Probably need to redo that toString. Get a localization, so this is going to be data.getName maybe? Get content ID will work. Because that'll localize pretty well actually. And then we're going to change this to... Actually, do we even need to change that? Because we'll remove this here. Because the content ID will act as an amazing localization system, because it'll be missile dot the name of the mod, and it'll basically be our translating system for us. So we need our casing size. So we're going to want to get, so be data.get missile, or get size, we'll just do that. We'll do get missile size. Get missile body size. Create a method for that. Create getter. Missile data. Not going to set that real quick, we're just going to put it to 0 there for the moment. Go back to missile. Oh, I accidentally just closed missile. Wow. That was not intentional. Okay, so we want to get mass. Create getter. Missile casing data. Set that to 0. I think it actually needs to not be a double, but we'll check in a second. Okay, so I has mass. Implement methods. Stack and save. So we still do need a stack for this, but we're going to change how it functions. So what we do is we go save item, and then just return item. I think there's maybe a copy thing going on here. Maybe dot copy. I don't know. Something dark side. Okay, so this is where we need to start doing hit points and height and width and size requirements. And I probably have broken ICBM severely today. We're gonna get rid of the constructor. Oh wait, we still need, well, this whole system's going away, so... Yeah, we're just going to do this real quick. YOLO, as they would say it. Oh, apparently I still need those values. Oh well, just do this real quick. So, large doesn't have data. Medium really doesn't have data. We do need to keep micro. And we need to keep this enum. Although we need to get rid of some of the information on enum. So get rid of you. Get rid of that. Get rid of the back half of this stuff. Get rid of that stuff. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. This means I only need in-flight ticks. It means I do need to still recode a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that actually is going to end up having to be changed because of this. This is a big foundational piece of the mod, how it functions. And I've been wanting to get rid of this for I don't know how long. It's actually been a couple times where I've actually given it a try. Yeah, I need to copy this again and actually go put it where it's supposed to be. So missile casing data, there is a registry method in missile casing system. So I need to go super.register. So we want that guy. Oh, that works. And what you want to do is you want to register the casing at some point. But we're probably not going to use this exact method, but I'm going to go ahead and hold on to it just in case. Because we do rebuild the missiles through this system, and probably need to figure out a better way to handle this. The thing is, if we do get rid of all the casings, I probably can get rid of the entire requirement for the modular system, which actually I think we already did. Yeah, we got rid of the modular system, so I won't even load through the modular system if I wanted it to. Which is good. It'll work for me. Just means I'm going to have to go through and recode like half the game. Yeah, there's a break down here. So, interesting. This is where things get a little bit more complicated because now missile size is no longer a valid system for doing this. The good news is I can just ditch this thing. I don't need this anymore. I still need the build trigger and stuff, so build trigger, build warhead, build, because we still have class objects for this. So this will be transitioned to JSON too. The cool thing with transitioning to JSON is I can get rid of a lot of this dumb code here. Okay, let's get rid of this thing. I'm going to get rid of like literally all the missile build object systems. Here's another build missile. I'm gonna have to recode them all from scratch though, so expect a lot of bugs. Anyways, new module, get rid of these pieces of code. Get rid of... yeah, get rid of this code. Yeah, we're still going to need these two pieces, even though I want to get rid of them as well, but oh well, they're kept. And then we're going to need the render code still. And this is the part where I need to lean over and boot up the server really, really quick. Because I just watched somebody just try to log into it. And they're going to poke at me in like 2 seconds to actually be like, hey, where's the server at? Oh man, this is where the fun begins. Yeah, so there's a lot of breakage now. So we're going to need to be able to build the missile from an item stack. There's no longer going to be this modular build system, so anybody who had third-party missiles, it just ain't going to work. So, null time. So that will fix that part, because then we got a 2-missile thing going on, so we just rely on the item missile to give us our system. This actually means if this turns to null, it'll delete the missile. Let's go through here and try to fix as much as we can before we run out of time here. Just going to put this to null now. Is in theory, everything should be an iMissile item. So there shouldn't be anything else coming through here. I'm probably going to recode the cart to actually demand that too. Oh, well here's a fun one. Right on cue. Okay, so I need to figure out some way to get a micro missile. You know what? The easiest way to do this? So just do item stack ICBM dot missile dot one dot this ordinal, and then get rid of that 2 stack at the end here. So what we're just going to do is we're going to say, okay, it produces a micro missile. There's no reason to have a more complicated recipe here. To be honest, I don't even know why we have a recipe whatsoever. This is a shapeless recipe, and the shapeless recipe should be the same. Should be an engine, a body, and then a warhead. Actually, I think this is just flat out a warhead system. Whatever, that should be fine. The entire warhead's going to have some problems, although I don't know why you're building missiles, to be honest. Oh, your recipe is what you are. Wrapper.item stack. What is a wrapper? Okay. Item stack wrapper items. Items equals explosive. Oh, okay, this is every explosive in the game. So you're the explosive. You're the warhead recipe output. Huh? I think this recipe is borked. Actually, let's do a Control Z here. I think what I want to do is actually grab this guy, and I want to put him right here. So that means it's explosive plus something, whatever, it'll work. If the recipe doesn't work, I'll fix it later. As long as it doesn't error, else I can test things. Command ICBM broke. Now here's where the interesting thing comes into play. So I still need to build a missile, and I still need to initialize it with a warhead and everything else. So now we got to construct a whole bunch of fun stuff. So what I actually think I'm going to do with this, because if I see this at once, it means I'm going to probably see it a few times, is I'm going to come down to the bottom here and do public static missile. And I'm going to make a factory. For those who think I'm about an actual factory, I'm talking about a programming version, which is just it builds things. So this will be create missile. This will be what do we want actually? We want the size, and we want the explosive name, or we want explosive handler. I really shouldn't be doing this with like as little sleep as I actually have. So this would be missile size. So first thing first is to be missile equals new missile. Now we need casing data, so that's actually a really big problem here. Is we actually don't have a way to get casing data. We could just set it to null. It will just default to something, theoretically. What I need to do is I need to create. We actually need to remove that enable status here. We don't even use that. I don't know. It's used somewhere. Missile casing data. Casing data list equals new array list. So we need a list of all casings for starters, because I'm going to have to reference this at some point, and this is just important to have an easy way to get access to it. And then on top of this, I'm going to need a public missile casing data default missile casing. So we'll have a default, and what we'll use is we'll use the default. So that what we'll go is heading will go size.default missile casing. Then we'll go missile.set warhead. Then we need missile modular builder dot instance dot build warhead. And then we're going to want to go size.warhead casing. And then we're going to go missile.get warhead dot set explosive. Oh well, that just makes everything harder. Because the handlers don't come with explosives, so can I even back reverse register thing? Get explosive. Okay, here we go. We can get items, we can get handler. So that's a way we can do it real quick. Let's see what the output type is this. That's a item stack wrapper. Where were we at? We were down here. Okay. So what we'll do with this... Actually, I think I can flat out just set the warheads system here. I could if it was one of mine. So let's see. The easiest way to do this is just to do items.get. But the reason I'm hesitant on that is that if the list is empty, then this will crash. But if it is empty and it doesn't crash, then it won't work. Theoretically, there shouldn't be any broken items in the explosive registry. If there ever is, I'll go ahead and fix it. We just want to turn the missile down here. We do want to create... Well, actually, you know what? We just won't care for guidance or anything. We'll go ahead and we'll set the command up to do that. So it'll be missile.create missile. So that'll fix that. Apparently we have an error in here. Yeah, because we don't register missile sizes anymore. Tons of errors. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and close this video off, and you can laugh at the fact that I just gave myself tons of more work and will probably take maybe a day or two to fix this all. I'll be back.